What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Now today we're back for another sim racing software review. We're here on rFactor 2 today, the old faithful, the sim that I started my PC sim racing journey on, and so I'm going to be a little bit biased, but I'm going to try to remain neutral where I can. I've got over 1,000 hours on RF2, so I feel like it's a perfect time to make a review on this sim. So without further ado, we're going to jump straight on into it. So yeah, let's go. The UI looks just absolutely breathtaking.
You're breathtaking!
Straight away met with this splash screen of some shots of the cars going by, with some ambient sounds of what I believe to be V10 F1 cars. It really sets the mood heading into rFactor 2. This is probably my favorite startup screen of any sim. It's just got something about it, and when you jump in, you straight away hit with the three big movers, single player, multiplayer, and all that kind of jazz. We're going to head into single player. You can see all the tracks are easy to find. All your main options are across the top. So you have your quick event, select series, which is for like mods and stuff like that. And then you can go set all your settings up for the race. It's just really easy to navigate, but unfortunately it's not all sunshine and rainbows, because as you're going to see now, the driver, the HUD is not very good. It's been the same since the game released, but luckily the modding community comes to the rescue with that, and as you can see, just like that, it's something more modern. On that note, let's swiftly move on to the modding community. While it's no Assetto Corsa, it has a really loyal and committed fan base, with a handful of small studios keeping the community alive, such as Advanced Simulations, who are responsible for the Formula Hybrid 22 and 21 respectively. They also make a few endurance mods which are quite enjoyable to drive, but a bit of a handful. Then you have rFactor, who make the V8 Supercar mods every year. Those are the mods that you could find me racing on the RF2 Down Under series back in 2019, 2020, and all the way up to this year with they're a great mod and a great little studio from Australia. And then, as well as that, you also have Global Endurance Modding, who, well, they make endurance mods. It's in the name. There are a bunch of incredible modders, but those are my three favorite. And then you have mods just from independent people. You have tracks, cars, HUDs, all sorts, all through the Steam Workshop and through Race Department. There are other sites, but that's where you'll find majority of the mods. rFactor 2 is best known for its physics engine. Although the sim was released back in 2013, its strength, in my humble opinion, is the way it simulates the grip, and you can really feel it fading away as you approach the limit. As well as you can really feel the weight underneath the car as you approach corners. Through the mid part of the corner, you can feel the car rolling depending on what type of car it is. If it's a Formula car, obviously, you won't be feeling that as much compared to, say, a touring car. And that, in my opinion, is what sets rFactor 2 apart. But another thing that sets it apart is it's ultra realistic, in my opinion, rain physics. Now, I've raced go-karts in the wet before plenty of times. I know what it feels like to race in the wet, and rFactor 2 is probably the best simulation of wet weather racing, regardless of what anyone thinks. They can't tell me any different. Now, this constantly keeps you up on your toes. You're constantly looking for changes in the sky. When you see the clouds starting to come in, you're going to constantly be on your toes, and you're going to start to gamble on whether you chose the right tyres or if you're going to go into wets before the rain starts. And if it's in a league, they will set the weather prior, or they'll use live weather, so you don't really know if it's coming or not. And then when it starts to dry, you've got dry lines, and they're actual dry lines. If you're running on the racing line, the water's going to dissipate, the tyres are going to get warm, and you're going to have to search the rest of the track for some wet patches to cool the tyres down. And that, in my opinion, for a game back in 2013, is just a massive, massive thing. Graphics are okay. Studio 397 do their best to keep them looking up to date, but I'm gonna be honest, when it rains, it looks absolutely awful. It's just like you've added a film grain running over the screen, and it's just a bit disgusting. But when the game is in the sunset period of the day or the sunrise, it does look absolutely incredible, on par with an AMS1 or a base Assetto Corsa before you've applied Sol Custom Shaders patch. Now let's take a look at the content of rFactor 2, which in my opinion is another one of their strong points, as its parent company is Motorsport Games, and while they're involved in a lot of controversy at the moment, it does mean that rFactor 2 is going to benefit from the fact that Motorsport Games has a bunch of official licenses that they need to uphold content for, and that's all getting shoveled into RF2. And you can see that by the absolute behemoth of a list of officially licensed motorsport series that are in rFactor 2. So you've got Formula E, IndyCar, BTCC, IMSA, and then you've got a plethora of GT3, GTE, and Formula cars such as Formula V and the Formula Pro car, which is an absolute monster. I have done a video on the Formula Pro, it'll be up in the iCard, up in the top right. Now on top of all those cars, you also have a multitude of laser scan tracks that everybody knows and loves. That's such as, but not limited to, Sebring, Spa, Monza, Brands Hatch, Monaco, and Daytona, just to name a few. But unfortunately, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, just like with the UI. rFactor 2, without any sales in Steam, is 47 Australian dollars. You can pick it up for like $10 on sale, but for the most part, it's $47. Then a car DLC is $7.48. And then tracks are almost $14. That is literally iRacing levels of fuckery. Now for the average working man, that's going to be a lot of money to shovel out, and with the new quarter drops for content, that's a lot of money to fork out over the course of a year. Nowhere near as much as what you have to do iRacing as a full-time, like the sim that you want to do, but it's still a fair bit. Say someone like me, I'm a student. At the moment I'm not working, I am looking for work though, so content might slow down soon, but we're not going to talk about that. Someone like me who's a student, it's quite hard to fund sim racing, especially when DLCs for cars and tracks are this expensive. That's why I've migrated away from rFactor 2 and onto Assetto Corsa, because I can get so much content for free. So yeah, that's just really disappointing from Studio 397, but at the end of the day, it is some of the most high level and high quality content in sim racing, so I guess it's kind of justifiable. And with that, we come to the age-old question: is rFactor 2 worth your money in 2022? I wish I could say straight up yes, but we're going to come back to the same answer I always seem to give. It is for a niche community. If you're looking for something to get you into PC sim racing, I still wouldn't pick RF2, unfortunately. As much as it hurts me to say, I would be heading somewhere like ACC. I learned everything on RF2. I learned how to trail brake, how to modulate the brake, how to modulate the throttle, how to race, just everything on RF2. That's where my 1,000 and something hours has come in on RF2, but there are better options now. Back then, the options were really limited. You had iRacing, RF2, AMS1, and AC, and that was just about it. AMS2 was still a bit rocky back then. But now you've got so many options. You've got AMS2, ACC, AC, you've got just such a massive variety of options, so rFactor 2 just wouldn't be that starting sim for me. But if you're a veteran sim racer and you've done everything, you've done the iRacing, you've done the ACC, you've done the AC, you've done AMS, AMS2, the whole lot, and you haven't tried RF2, or you haven't done it in a while, you might be surprised, and you should definitely have a go on RF2 once again. But guys, it is 10 to 1 in the morning here in Sydney, Australia. I'm going to wrap up this editing session, so if you guys have enjoyed, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and until next time, my name is Damon, and yeah, peace out guys.